Test, test. Good morning, good morning. We are here today. Good morning, guys. All right, so SpaceX dumped on CapEx fears. AMD dumped after doing only slightly better than expected. We're still getting rumors and circulating about a potential deal with Iran going, which has caused oil to fall all the way down to $76 a barrel. And more volatility today. We have the ADP NFP prelim report coming out at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, and that's ahead of the Friday NFP print. So we'll get a look at jobs for July, the first real look at jobs for July, which should be somewhat influential. We'll see what that looks like. The NASDAQ is almost back up to 30,000, and markets are volatile again today. We've had a bunch of earnings release already. We had Uber, we had Eli Lilly, we had Disney come out with earnings, CVS, and more. So markets are bracing for more volatility today, and we'll see if we get it. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel today. What's up, chat? Let me say hello to everybody real quick before we go through everything. What's up, Zeke, Killing Frenzy, Jonathan, Ava, GJ, Steve, The Real, Gia, GJ, Dave, Edson, Sutter Kane, SpaceX, Neon, Pelican, The Good News, Shake and Bake, May, Dave, Alyssa, Old Hack, FME, Darkage, Surin, Best, Matthew, Good News, Rooftop, Free Solo, Alexis, Lucas, Julie, VA, Pawn, Slumdog, AJ, VV, Hayes, Ace, Envy, Plasma, Pav, Wolf, Alan, N1, Bogdan, BB, and everybody else here today. What's up, chat? Yeah, so the president said this yesterday. All right, let's listen to it.
Let's get more.
Let me see if I can find it here.
It's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the strait's going to be open.
All right, so the president said that in oil, if we take a look at it here, let me put this up. Here is oil right here. So oil up a little bit this morning, but still net down. It's at $76 a barrel. So it's going back and forth here. We'll see if we actually get a deal done. But it is going back and forth here. But oil is at $76 a barrel. One of the big stories is SpaceX this morning. SpaceX originally went up to 130, but higher CapEx is freaking people out regarding SpaceX. AMD dropped almost 9%. SpaceX dropped 10 to 11%. But we do have the data out this morning. We'll see if we get anything going here. But yeah, markets are nervous here. So let's see what SpaceX is freaking people out regarding SpaceX.
We expect the cadence of AI development to improve dramatically. And then with Grok 5, which should be out before the end of this year, we will be incorporating the entire corpus of SpaceX data, basically all the data that SpaceX has ever produced, which is a tremendous amount over the course of a quarter century, will be incorporated into Grok training.
So SpaceX came out and they raised CapEx. So if we look at SpaceX here, SpaceX originally went up to almost 130s, back up a lot. Palantir is absolutely flying up. If you look at Palantir, but there has been some worries. So Bloomberg reported, quote, fresh threat against Middle East shipping tempered optimism over U.S.-Iran talks. And so that's probably what made oil jump back up here. But again, SpaceX did their first quarterly earnings report as a public company. CapEx went up 6x. And again, in this market right now, CapEx is what's freaking people out. So CapEx went up 6 times to 18.4 billion, way above the analysts' expectations. The majority of this capital expenditure spending is on AI, and again, in the pre-market session, it's down like 10 to 11% or more. So again, Elon is essentially spending AI infrastructure money aggressively. It's the same punishment that we saw other stocks like Meta and more with higher CapEx get punished, and SpaceX is now no exception to that trend here in earnings. Another story that we got this morning is that mortgage data did show up the highest level in a year. Mortgage applications went down 2.9%. The 30-year mortgage rate showed up at 6.81%. That's roughly the highest level for mortgages in a year, and that's making people nervous as well here. But we'll see what we get today. Yeah, look at Palantir. Palantir up to 160s, man. What a percentage move on Palantir. Now, it's still PE ratio is still pretty high for Palantir. You know, PE ratio I think is in the 100s if we're looking at TTM. Forward PE I think it's in the 80s, but that's still high as well, even in the 80s. So, yeah. What's up, Only Brian? What's up, G-Man? What's up, Plasma? Josh? Smackdown. First lockout on SpaceX lifts tomorrow. Yeah, dude. SpaceX getting absolutely destroyed here. The NASDAQ, though, again, is pretty close to 30K. NASDAQ might test 30K today. It got really close to it late last night. Basically at midnight last night, you can see the NQ went all the way up to 29,990 last night. And so we'll see if we get some movement here. But you can see we got pretty close to 30K. Here's 30K right here. And the NASDAQ got very, very close to that. It's still pretty close to it now. It's still technically green on the day. But another one of the big stories that is absolutely freaking markets out is AMD. You know, look at AMD here, more chip fears. And this is in a market where, like, the Kospi index with SK Hynix and Samsung went up 2% plus overnight. So the Kospi still did well. But again, AMD down almost 9% in pre-market. Adjusted earnings only slightly ahead of the Wall Street expectations. So it's not the blowout that markets expected essentially here. Modest beat and guidance concerns. AI accelerator commentary wasn't as hot as people wanted it to be. You know. And so, yeah, markets expected more for AMD. It's down to 473s this morning in pre-market. 473s. Hey, what's up, Faye? What's up, First Choice? What's up, Checkerboard? Yeah, here's MU and SanDisk. SanDisk got 1400s, MU at 882s here. So these are still slightly red on the day, but they are up from where they were yesterday. Yesterday, we went all the way up to 900 plus, but we opened at about 870. So we're at 880s today. We're only slightly higher than we were yesterday. We also had news around Michael Burry and some of his short positions. So yesterday, we got news that Burry disclosed that he exited Microsoft longs and calls. So he got out of Microsoft longs. He closed his Oracle shorts and puts. He closed his January 2026 Palantir puts, but still remains short on the stock altogether. He rolled NVIDIA puts into June 2027 with strikes in the low 100s for NVIDIA. He also rolled his QQQ short positions into February of 2027. So he continues to hold his remaining short positions outside of that. But again, he got out of Microsoft, so maybe he's trying to get out of software a little bit. He got out of Palantir some, but still remains short on the stock, probably because Palantir is pushing up. He basically rolled his Cube short positions, rolled his NVIDIA short positions, and continues to hold his remaining one. And so Burry's still shorting AI, still shorting tech, but is less short in some names, specifically in software is the big one. Microsoft, if you look at it, has been seen as kind of a proxy for software, and it has gone up dramatically over the last little bit here. If we take a look at Microsoft, just over the last 5 days, today it's up again. It's almost to $500 a share for Microsoft. And so Burry exited his long positions in Microsoft. Now, maybe assuming that we're up so much, we're going to pull back some. I don't know here, but that's what Burry's doing. Yeah, we have ADP data coming out live today at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. So we do have ADP data. Do me a favor, hit the like button on the stream, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. ADP jobs is the first look at July jobs today. So if we get a look at jobs today through ADP data, we'll get a look at what happened in July, which, remember, oil was higher in July. So, you know, inflation fears are still a concern. But yeah, mortgage applications dropped 2.9%. 30-year mortgage rate was 6.81%, which is roughly the highest we've seen in a year. The ADP data came out last time for June at 98K. Today it's expected at 68K. So it is expected to pull back from where it was in June for July jobs data. Again, ADP coming out expected at 68K. We also have ISM services data at 10 a.m. today. So more data at 10. We have 54.5 expected for ISM services PMI. Last time was 54. So a little bit stronger than expected outlook there. But yeah, it's a volatile day again regarding a lot of different things. Shopify is up a big amount. If we take a look at Shopify, I posted these numbers in the chat, but look at Shopify right now, guys. This is a 15-minute chart too. Very big gain for Shopify. It's up like 30+% at the highs. So it hit 164s this morning. Q2 revenue beat estimates, up 34% at the highs for Shopify. So one of the big movers this morning is Shopify today. But I'm going to do a question for the poll, and it's a pretty easy question. Does the NASDAQ break 30K today? Yes or no? Does the NASDAQ break 30K today? Vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel. Guys, what's up, Max? How you doing, brother? Yeah. Look at gold this morning. Gold flying up today. The low oil price is benefiting gold. The potential news about a deal with Hormuz is benefiting gold. Gold is rate sensitive, so higher yields is worse for gold, lower yields is better. And if we look at 2-year treasuries today with gold in mind, they're down to 4.2%. They are up a little bit on the day, but you can see how much we've fallen since rumors have started circulating about a potential deal with Iran. Again, 4.2% right now for 2-year treasuries, and gold is flying up today. So gold making some big moves. I am reading right now that the Iranian Foreign Minister Arachi is expected to visit Pakistan on Friday, according to sources cited by Russian press. All right, so the Iranian Foreign Minister Arachi is expected to visit Pakistan on Friday, apparently, and so we'll see what that looks like. But we do have ADP jobs data today. We do have ISM services. Let me see what the polls got to say. So 70% of the polls say yes, the NASDAQ does break 30K. 30% saying no, the NASDAQ does not break 30K today. So we'll see what that looks like. What would you rather buy today? This is maybe a better question for the poll, but what would you rather buy today, guys? Would you rather buy software stocks or chip stocks? Software or chips? Let me know. Put it up in the chat. But I think there's reasons to buy both potentially, depending on how long you want to hold them. But what's the move today? Software or chips, guys? Or do you want to buy SpaceX? You can throw SpaceX in there as well. If anybody wants to buy SpaceX here. SpaceX down to 110s. Not liking the high CapEx spending. Chips, both chips. Such a hard choice. Software. I can respect the difference. Chips, silver and gold, long term. $50 SpaceX is a buy. Short SpaceX. GameStop. Chips need to crash again. Software. I'm heavy chips and software as a service as a hedge. That's not a bad move. I mean, that's definitely a hedge right now. Chips, gold miners, energy. No way SpaceX unlock starts tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get some sales maybe coming in. It should be interesting for sure. Buy oil stocks, silver and gold. Yeah, I mean, look, man. Oil is down net for sure over the last few days. Yesterday when I looked at it, it was at low 80s to just under 80. So we went all the way up to 92s back earlier in July, but at this point in time, after rumors have been circulating about a potential deal, you know, oil has pulling back some. It's slightly green on the day, but I mean, you got to think about how much oil dropped yesterday. Brent is down, WTI crude is down. You know, this is how much we've dropped. Here's where the news came out about a potential deal. This was yesterday. Remember, we were streaming when this happened, but again, news about a potential deal with Iran coming through. And again, the president said this.
The strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the strait's going to be open.
All right, so the president said that yesterday, but we got a lot of rumors circulating. Rubio kind of countered some of this and said that we don't have anything firm with Iran. But oil's still reacting like, you know, a deal is imminent here. So we'll see if that holds. But oil. Iranian state media citing informed sources said the Hormuz Sea agreement with Oman will be postponed so long as the U.S. continues to threaten Oman or Iran. Yeah, I mean, we did get news from, I think it was Bloomberg, that, you know, still kind of showed some shipping fears in Iran. But man, Shopify, guys. Yeah, we posted the Shopify earnings in the stream earlier, but man, dude, they have flown up. Yeah, Shopify posted 3.58 billion in revenue, gross profit 1.71 billion. So Shopify did great. And look at this. This is a 15-minute chart. Look at a 1-minute chart. So, does anybody want to buy the dip in Shopify here? I know it's not a large dip. It's still risky. Sometimes we fill these gaps on the downside, but Shopify, and really this is software and sales, but we'll see if that benefits everything else. Yeah, SK Hynix went up overnight. It is down today though, but it went up, you know, Kospi index went up I think like 2% overnight. And so we'll see what SK Hynix does today. Again, MU still on the watch, SanDisk still on the watch, back over 1400s, hit almost 1500 at midnight last night. Yeah, freaking AMD, man. Again, market wanted more, you know, especially with chips like this, like NVIDIA or AMD. You know, the market really for the last year has been in the situation where it needs beat and raises, and markets have been a little unrealistic, I think, for this, right? Like NVIDIA and AMD have had really kind of strict reactions to earnings. And so if they don't have an absolute blowout for earnings, market freaks out. And this is a trend we've seen, again, for the last year. We've seen this trend in markets where, you know, stocks in the sector seem to underperform even if they beat and raise. A lot of it has to do with CapEx, but with AMD, it just wasn't quite good enough for their earnings. Even though they beat, you know, markets expected more, markets maybe front loaded into more. I know a lot of people yesterday ahead of the AMD earnings were saying that AMD was going to skyrocket today. And the exact opposite has happened. It's fallen from 530s all the way down to 480s here. So a very large percentage drop from earnings for AMD. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But man, yeah, Palantir, rocket ship, man. It is up to 160s this morning. And you can see the crazy moves it's done. So here's where the earnings came out for Palantir. Here, it's at 160s now. So, hey, what's up, Sparta? What's up, Drops? Nada. It's typical of a late bull market cycle. Everybody wants Palantir earnings. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of this has to do with just way more CapEx fears. Yeah, AMD CapEx is 808 million, up from 389 million the previous quarter. So again, AMD CapEx freaking markets out as well. But look at AMD. Oh my god, dude. If I can't get rid of the song, like why? Freaking. I'll find a better song. 42.12s now for gold. I mean, we lost money yesterday. Actually, we made a little bit of money, a very small amount of money yesterday. Not a lot. We made a little bit. But it was basically a flat day, if I remember correctly, trading here. But man, the NASDAQ is still moving up this morning here. If we look at the NASDAQ here, it is at 926. It's gold sitting at over 4200s right now. So gold is still moving up here on low oil. 4200s for gold right now. Still pushing up, breaking highs. Look at gold right here, man. It is moving. 4215s. Is this the wrong contract? What do you show for gold futures here, guys? Oil's still falling down real quick, so let's look at oil. Oil down to 75.80s this morning. Again, we do have Feds, Cook, and Daly speaking. So Cook is going to speak on economic outlook, speaking last month before the July FOMC meeting. She is prepared to act if inflation does not begin to slow down, while willing to wait to observe how conditions unfold. She said inflation risks are now outweighing employment risks, citing the AI investment boom, tariffs, Middle Eastern conflict, and more. She did say this was policy right now was mildly restrictive, and said recent CPI and PPI data were insufficient to constitute a trend. We also have Daly speaking in Tokyo. Before the FOMC meeting, he said monetary policy was slightly restrictive, saying the next step was unclear amid AI-related growth and a stable labor market. So we do have 2 Fed members speaking today. We'll see what that looks like. But again, we do have the ADP jobs data going live at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time today. So we'll see what that looks like. Or the Z contract for gold. Thank you, G-Man. Look at gold rip here, dude. There we go. Yeah, you're right. Look at gold though, man. 42.40s right now. SanDisk earnings, yes sir. More chip fears, maybe. But man, do me a favor, hit that like button on the stream, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Again, do we get higher or lower job numbers today? What do you guys think? See if the NASDAQ gets up there here. I don't really want to buy it. It's too high right now, but I do think that 30,000 level could be like a magnet up here. So I do think 30K could be like a magnet. Here's 30,000. We'll see if it is. But we got ADP jobs data in 35 minutes. Again, stronger or weaker jobs today for ADP data. This is not the weekly report that doesn't really move things. This is the ADP monthly report for Wednesday, which is today. It's the first look at July jobs, really. The JOLTS report was for June, and so today's job report is the first look at July jobs. And it's going to be interesting. It's kind of prelim ahead of the NFP report on Friday. So we do have the first look at July jobs in about 35 minutes. Let me know if you think we're going to come in higher or lower. Again, right now it's expected, I believe the ADP report is expected at around 68,000. For ADP. Last time showed up at 98,000, so we might continue to see weaker trends in labor is something that we're seeing right now. Maybe. We'll see, but it's risky. Hey, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it, brother. Will gold reach 3,600? I don't know. If it does, I'll probably buy it. I think gold's pretty cheap at 3,600. Week after the World Cup, lots of people would be fired. People think lower jobs apparently today. Yeah, I mean, it's expected to pull back though. Last time was 98,000. Today we're expected at 68,000. So jobs are expected to dampen a little bit relative to the last time, according to the NFP report. Now this can be different than the actual NFP report, but the NFP report on Friday. Again, is expected to show up with slightly higher unemployment at 4.3%. Non-farm payrolls, though, are expected at around 88,000. So basically similar to what we're going to, expect here for the ADP jobs data going live in 30-something minutes. We also have ISM services today, again, chat, so we'll see what that looks like. But, man. Yeah, but again, the Iran foreign minister is supposed to visit Pakistan on Friday. So that is some good news. Again, the Iran foreign minister Arachi is supposed to visit Pakistan on Friday. It's looking like, in Pakistan have been the mediators in all of this stuff, so it's looking like that we might continue to see goodness there. But oil has continued to move down over the last few days here on optimism around a deal. Do we get a ceasefire this week is the question. A lot of the time, it's either announced on the weekend, like over the weekend, or it's announced on Friday. So We'll see if we get a ceasefire announced. But do we get one? Do we get a ceasefire announced this week? I hope we do. But again, I'm a little skeptical, you know. Even if we do get one announced, I'm a little skeptical it's going to hold, is really what it is. Like, if we look at the trends that we've seen in this over the last 6 months, I'm a little skeptical it's actually going to hold. So I want it to hold, don't get me wrong, but I'm a little worried it's not going to. It won't last. Ceasefire number 50. We might have a hard rejection at 30K, a lower high, but it's definitely trying. Yeah, look at the Dow. Boomers, did I say the Dow? I did say the Dow. The Dow is flying up, breaking all-time highs every day. The S&P broke all-time highs yesterday, but again, tech's still the lagging stock here. Here's the S&P right here. Here's the E-mini. Again, all-time highs again, 7,800s. The S&P is really pushing towards 8,000. Does the S&P break 8K this year? I think it could. Dow's flying up. Dow pushing towards 60K. Almost to 55 now. So nice plant. It's a fake plant. Why does the market believe it every time? I mean, market's just reacting to oil. We didn't have a significant bump in jobs before the World Cup, so why should there be an impact on NFP today? Yeah, I mean, it's expected to show up weaker than last time for NFP. ADP is expected to show weakness as well. But man, AMD down, SpaceX down, MU down a little bit on the day, but still green over the last 24 hours. SanDisk earnings after the bell today is going to be the next big story in chips. And we'll see what that looks like here, guys. We'll see what it looks like. Ugh. We are at 7:45 in the morning, 30 minutes before the ADP data. Hey, what's up, Brian? I don't get it. Put 50% tariffs on 60 countries. Strait of Hormuz is still closed, yet the market is flying at all-time highs. Honestly, dude, it's been kind of like that since the conflict started. In the midst of the conflict with high oil prices, the market was breaking all-time highs. And so, you know, a lot of stuff has to do with oil, but it's not the only thing right now. There's a big dynamic this year altogether, and it really has to do with three main things. It has to do with AI and CapEx spending. It has to do with geopolitics and oil prices and the consequences to the Fed rate path. As well as software fears are here. So those three things have been dominating markets, especially over the last few months. But, you know, in general, over the last 6 months, software fears, AI CapEx and spending fears, I guess memory fears, but you could probably group that in with AI CapEx and spending. And again, obviously geopolitics and oil have moved things a lot in markets. So we have three main themes that are moving markets, and sometimes markets trend with them and sometimes they trend against those themes. I'll get into some trades, Jack, for sure. NASDAQ dipping. I mean, not really a lot. This is just a very small pullback in the NASDAQ. In the NASDAQ here, almost at the NAS crack. The NASDAQ, here's 30K though. And this can sometimes be like a magnetizing level here for it. So we can sometimes get like a magnet effect up to 30K. I like to try to play the range up to these levels instead of the level itself. So that's kind of generally how I like to choose to trade these, but everybody's different. I don't really like the break of 30K. Sometimes we get up to these milestone areas like this and then reject it and dump down. And so that's a risk for sure right now. Gold is again super interesting, being so rate sensitive. Gold moving with lower oil prices, but gold up to 42.45s right now. We'll see if oil prices continue to fall. We got to continuously watch the tape here based off of, you know, geopolitical news coming out. We did see some news come out. FedEx will reportedly implement a generate rate increase from January 4th. Novo says the price dynamic for Wegovy injectable in the U.S. is now the same as what we started the year with, apparently for Novo. President said that straight up Hormuz will open up very soon. Yeah, we posted this quote. Again, this is a quote from the president earlier. All right.
The strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the strait's going to be open.
All right, so that's from the president here. Yeah, so again, he's basically saying either way the strait's going to be open. We'll see if that happens. But oil is starting to move a little bit here. Not any crazy volume spikes or anything like that, but it is at $76 a barrel. And again, I told you guys this earlier. Look, Michael Burry just posted this. So Michael Burry says, quote, "There is no doubt that right now there are shortages. No doubt that Caterpillar is really doing unbelievably well. Palantir is really filing acute CYA needs. Nvidia's Nvidia's margins and prices really cause nosebleeds. There's really gold in them there hills, just pointing out future ghost towns." So he's referencing the gold rush. And essentially, if you don't understand this, right, like the gold rush in the past, in the West, in California, back in the 1800s, a lot of people flocked to California looking to get rich on gold. A lot of it was not true. I mean, there were gold in the hills, but people did not. Some people got rich from it, but the people that got rich from the gold rush were the people selling the shovels, people selling the equipment, people, doing little side jobs regarding gold. Those are the ones, the suppliers of the equipment are really the ones that got rich, right? But really, honestly, even with that in mind, Caterpillar seems like, and he's shorting Caterpillar, right? Like Caterpillar builds construction equipment. The thesis on this around AI is that Caterpillar is going to be, construction equipment and machinery like Caterpillar. They're going to be the ones building the data centers, regardless of whether the data centers are getting overbuilt, regardless of whether the spending is too high, regardless of whether there's a bubble in data centers. Caterpillar is going to be, essentially the same, analogy in regards to the people who got rich from the gold rush or the people selling the shovels. You could argue that's Caterpillar here. And Burry is shorting Caterpillar right now. And again, so Burry said there's no doubt that right now there are shortages. No doubt that Caterpillar is really doing unbelievably well. Palantir is really filing acute CYA needs. Nvidia's margins and prices really cause nosebleeds. There's really gold in them there hills, just pointing out future ghost towns. But it almost sounds like an argument against his short on Caterpillar, because Caterpillar might be the one selling the shovels, my friend Burry. So we'll see what happens. But do you agree with Burry's Caterpillar short? Because again, Caterpillar's gone up substantially over the last year in hopes, really in bets that them building the data centers with the Caterpillar machinery is going to benefit Caterpillar stock substantially. But again, it kind of sounds like an argument's against this Caterpillar short. Yeah. Apple news. We have Apple news. Yeah, Apple's dumping down here, so we do have some type of news in Apple. Let's see if we can figure it out. Yeah, so UK Navy apparently said there was a late report of an incident near Yemen. I'm looking for the Apple news here. Yeah, but Apple just dumped down here. Yeah, Apple's dumping here. Fell pretty big over the last 6 minutes. Yeah, Apple asked the judge to lock down OpenAI. I see that. Something tanked Apple over the last 10 minutes here. I don't really see the news on it though. I'm checking. Interesting, but yeah, Apple just fell down substantially here. OpenAI and Apple are in a significant legal dispute. Yeah, I read that, but look at Apple falling down to 307s here. And I like Apple long term. Again, I've given my argument on Apple a lot, but I have a 17-year-old daughter, right? And I'm a Samsung guy, right? Like I have Samsung. I'm a PC and Samsung guy. But I could buy my daughter the newest, coolest Samsung phone in the world, or give her a 5-year-old Apple phone, and she's going to take the 5-year-old Apple phone. And so it kind of shows the U.S. market dominated by Apple, and it really is. And so I like Apple long term. Short term, who freaking knows? And Apple has been seen as kind of a hedge against AI lately with, again, one of the things that people were the most critical on Apple for is it not pivoting to AI as fast or as quick as people might have liked it. But now Apple has been seen as a hedge against that. It's been breaking all-time highs. It got up to 340s. It's at 309s now, though. I don't hate the pullback here, but yeah, I mean, the security's probably better on Apple for sure. Yeah, Disney earnings did drop. Disney earnings ended up showing up at 206. They expected 186 for Disney. So better than expected EPS. Revenue for Disney ended up showing up at 25.2 billion. They expected 25.39 billion. So they missed revenue, but they beat EPS. They're still going up some. I generally like Apple when it's in like the 80s. I like Apple at 80s, 75s, 80s, and I like to ride it up to 115 or 120. This is a trade I've taken numerous times throughout the years. And why do I take these trades? Is because generally speaking, when Apple gets this low, it almost always bounces back. Now, this is a scary trend to capitalize on right now, but I usually sell at 110s to 115s around this level, and I buy it up around this level here for Apple. But Apple's now over 100. We'll see if it holds. But yeah, we did have news of a UK MTO. They received a late time report of an incident 9 North NM southwest of Al Muka, Yemen. Vessel was attacked by an uncrewed surface vessel, which caused a fire on board, and then the vessel then sunk, apparently. I don't know if this is really enough to move oil prices here. We also had Uber earnings come out. Oil's pretty much, flat. But we did have Uber earnings come out. Uber is not reacting well. I almost want to buy Uber here, though, because I think Uber is going to continue to get better and better. I think their margins are going to continue to improve. And they honestly did. I mean, they missed revenue. Gross bookings were 58 billion. They quarter 3 bookings expected between 58.25 to 60.25 billion. They missed revenue, though, is probably why Uber is down. Uber showed up at 117. They expected 81 cents, so margins were better. But revenue 14.2, they expected higher than that. So Uber is down. But I'm tempted to buy Uber on this pullback from earnings here. I don't know if I'm going to, but I'm tempted to. I'm not spending $1,000 or more on a phone where I can get an Android at Dollar General for 29 bucks. Yeah. Apple or Android, chat? What do you guys? Apple or Android? We gotta know. Apple or Android here. Again, we got PMI data today. We got ADP jobs today in 15 minutes. Yeah, so Caterpillar's PE ratio isn't terrible. It's at 40x PE. I'm still reading Burry's points here, referencing the gold rush. But again, I think Caterpillar's going to be the one selling the shovels. No? So to speak. And like I said, we did get news earlier that Burry has exited Microsoft longs, closed Oracle shorts and puts, closed January's 26 Palantir puts, but still short on the stock, rolled Nvidia puts into June 2027, rolled Q short position into February of 2027, and he held everything else. So There's memory. All right, so I asked people Apple or Android here. Apple. I'm a droid and Apple. Android. Apple. Dude, so many Android users. I'm surprised. I'm assuming the Android people are overseas, though. You know, Samsung obviously a lot bigger overseas than it is in the U.S. But I'm honestly shocked, number one, at how many people answered this question in chat. But number two, how many Android users we got here. Look, y'all are cool like me. I appreciate it. Android, Apple, Android. Easily Apple, Droid, Apple, Android personally, Apple, Android all day, Android, Droid, Apple. I'm surprised we have more Android users. My entire life is on Apple. Apple, Droid, Android, Apple only and everything since 08. Apple less viruses. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there, bro. Droid, Apple, Android, track phone. Hey. Do I need to go back to... Y'all better say nice things about the other one. Android. Both. All Apple, but Droid is better. Apple all day. Yeah, the Apple guys coming out now fighting. Big-headed people choose Android. Hey, my guy Gary, Android always ahead on tech and innovation. Yeah. My whole house is Apple ecosystem. It just all works good together. BlackBerry, Apple, Caterpillar phone. BlackBerry, FTW. Android for customization and Apple for security. I'm new to funded accounts. Should I start with 25 or 50? I would go with 25, Victor. You know, yeah, I would go with 25. Just because, like, when you're brand new, bro, like, you're probably going to lose. Unless you're, like, an experienced futures trader and you know what you're doing. Personally, I would go with a 25K account. I saw you also ask earlier, you know, regarding Lucid Flex accounts. And yeah, there's no activation fee in Lucid Flex, no daily loss limit, no consistency rule. And so I like Lucid Flex, my friend. In order to get a payout, you need 5 minimum days of profit. So you can't get daily payouts, but I honestly like that a lot better than like a consistency rule, because when you can get payouts on Lucid Flex, they can be a lot larger since there's no consistency rule. You know, there's end of day drawdown options in Lucid Flex. And so I hope that makes sense. And again, if you guys want to check out Lucid Flex, here's the link. You use my code BGT, it'll get you the max discount. There's the link right there. Yeah, if you want daily payouts on Lewis, try their daily plan. Bat phone. Best firm for beginners. It depends on what your goal is. If you want the most free rules, Lucid. If you want the cheapest accounts, which are honestly, realistically, are probably the best for beginners, I would go Apex. You can get a $15 account on Apex right now. So, just depends. But look at chips start to fall. Again, here's SanDisk at 1400s. Google's up today. Microsoft's still green. Again, Apple's red. AMD is a dumpster fire, and then SpaceX is the scary story right now, man. SpaceX still falling here. Does anybody want to buy SpaceX right here? Again, they raised their capex 6 times what it was previously. So AMD also had 808 billion capex, over 2x what it was expected previously. So capex fears are really the story here. And again, in markets that fear AI over valuations, capex stories have been dominating this earnings season, and this is all going to, this is all going to lead towards Nvidia earnings in a couple weeks. So yeah, this is all going to head towards Nvidia earnings in a few weeks, and that's going to be the big release here that people are going to be paying attention to is Nvidia earnings. Nvidia, again, back to 215s, doing a lot better. Was under 200s for a while. And Nvidia's at 215s now. So let's see what happens. But I bought 5,000 more of SpaceX. I'm not touching SpaceX. I just hope SpaceX doesn't drag down RKLB. Palantir's up a lot, Jay. Palantir's up to the 160s right now. You know, it was at 120s a couple weeks ago. So Palantir, really a few days ago. Palantir is flying. Good earnings. Killed it with earnings. And they're up to 162 this morning. Nvidia. Yeah, so SpaceX. Yeah, SpaceX is not paying a dividend yet. I mean, it just IPO'd, so I wouldn't expect it to, but it's not paying a dividend right now. Yeah, I mean, SpaceX is interesting. Again, AMD. Does anybody want to buy AMD down here? AMD at 470s. What about gold today, guys? Buy or sell gold? Here I asked that question. But gold has been climbing higher and higher on lower oil prices here. Gold is like a staircase to heaven right now. There might be a song about that. I don't know. But Strategy joins Invest America Business Pledge, contributing to Trump accounts to support the financial future of employees' children. Strategy is going to contribute $250 each year to Trump accounts for every eligible child under 18 of its U.S. employees. But yeah, one of the things that I think is also bullish, Burry got out of some of his short positions on Palantir. And understandably so. Palantir's flying up. He still remains short on the stock, but he did close his January 26 Palantir puts. So he got out of some of his puts. Look at gold, though, man. Gold is just climbing higher and higher this morning. It's interesting, too, because if we look at yields are actually down, or yields are actually up slightly on the day, just from oil bouncing back a little bit early this morning. It's still down. Oil's still net red for sure over the last 24 hours on optimism about this deal. But yeah, we got 10 minutes until ADP data as well, guys. So 10 minutes. I don't know. It depends on what the numbers show up as. ADP jobs data is the first look at July jobs. So, yeah, we do have the ADP prelim NFP report. It's the first look at July jobs. It drops in 10 minutes. I'm not sure what we're going to get with this. I really don't know. It depends on what the numbers are. And really, the question is, again, I'll ask this question to the chat, but does the market want stronger or weaker jobs right now? You could argue oil being down, consequently meaning, less inflation, means the market might want stronger jobs, since we have lower oil prices. Or you could argue with markets that fear inflation so much, with the Fed rate path uncertain, with rate hike odds on the books, that look at gold continue to break highs. But you could argue that, markets want weak jobs to continue to put pressure on inflation. And I don't know which one we're at right now. I think big beats or misses on either side of the expectation will cause movement, but I really don't know. I really don't know what the market wants. Again, let me know in chat. Does the market want stronger or weaker jobs right now? You could look at it conventionally and say, hey, the market wants stronger jobs. And I'm not necessarily against that right now, especially with oil prices being down and consequently, again, less people worried about inflation. But I think it's certainly kind of dicey here with jobs. We've seen weakness in jobs. The JOLTS report was weaker than expected, I believe. But look at gold right now. Gold up to 4260s here. Gold flying up. What's the NASDAQ doing? NASDAQ not really moving like that. Oil not really moving like that either. But man, look at gold, guys. Gold at 4260s today. Weaker for a rate cut. Market wants weaker jobs so the Fed can cut rates. Yeah, Old Faithful, chef, for sure. Game over. Anyone know when president's making his announcement? I see the president is scheduled to speak right now. I saw this earlier, but the president is supposed to be speaking. I think it's like 3:30 or something like that this afternoon. I have to look at his schedule, but I think it's like 3:30 is when he's supposed to speak. Again, gold flying up today. But I think he's supposed to speak sometime around 3:30. I might be wrong, though. Eastern time. But man, look at gold here, guys. I think so, Pew. I'm not 100%, bro. I'm not 100%. Silver's following gold, too. World Cup is over. Job report will be weaker. Push for a hold. Yeah, but it's already expected to come down some. So, like the jobs report today, the ADP report specifically here that drops in 6 minutes. The ADP report is already expected to weaken, right? So it has to do with expectations because expectations are what's baked into the market, right? Last time ADP jobs for the month of June showed up at 98,000. Today they were expecting 68K. So they are expected to weaken some in that regard. For NFP data, right? NFP data drops this Friday. NFP data is expected at 88,000. Last time it was 57,000. So NFP data is expected to strengthen a little bit, but it did show up really bad last time. So again, it showed up really weak last time regarding NFP data. So it showed up at what, 57,000, if I remember correctly last time. So yeah, we'll see. Yields going up with gold. Not really. I don't see yields moving a ton. But they're moving a little bit here. They're up. They are moving up with gold, which is strange. Higher yields should scare gold. But look at yields jumping here. So, yeah. Yeah, the U.S., Iran, and Oman are preparing to announce a 60-day agreement on shipping through the Strait of Hormuz as soon as today. The president said talks with Iran are moving along very nicely. Yeah, TLT is green on the day as well, but would show yields are down. But gold, man, 52.60 right now for gold, basically. All right, guys, 5 minutes before ADP. Nasdaq still sitting over 29.90. I'm tempted to buy the NQ here, and I think I probably will. Kashkari, speaking on CNBC. So Kashkari has been speaking here. He said, "My goal is not to slow the economy. My goal is to bring down inflation." But yeah, CBS reporting that Iran and Oman negotiate new transit terms for the Strait of Hormuz, and we're also getting other news about a potential 60-day deal. 60-day ceasefire. But again, markets aren't really moving that much for it. Look at the NASDAQ, though. I'm tempted to buy the NASDAQ. What do we have? 4 minutes left until jobs. Should I take the risk and assume markets might react well to this? Maybe I will. We made a little bit of money yesterday. I think we made like less than $100. Basically a flat day. But here we go, guys. We got 4 minutes left until ADP jobs come out. Bitcoin is pumping. Can you check if Taco? Yeah. Well, I mean, Bitcoin's going to do well if the president does not Taco, right? Like a deal with Hormuz should make Bitcoin go up. Why? Because a deal with Hormuz should make oil go down, open the door for more stimulation in the economy, right? Which will benefit Bitcoin, which Bitcoin wants. Bitcoin wants easing. It's very similar to gold. Higher yields is worse for Bitcoin and gold. Lower yields is better for Bitcoin and gold because more people buy Bitcoin and gold versus bonds if yields are lower. And so if the president does not Taco, that in theory, should benefit Bitcoin and gold, but you don't freaking know. All right, guys, we got 3 minutes left. Bitcoin is looking at clarity. Yeah, Bitcoin has been reacting to the Clarity Act and the less likelihood of it passing. President tacos all the time. Yeah, so again, I'm seeing news regarding Kashkari and regarding overseas news, but Kashkari is still speaking on CNBC. He said, ultimately, the committee has decided on the right communication posture. My goal is not to slow the economy. I'm not calling for a dramatic increase in rates. I believe now is the time to start slowly moving interest rates up, though. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Yeah, but Iran's gonna say there's no talks. I see somebody saying Iran said there's no talks, but they're gonna say that though, brother. They're gonna say that. Like that's their MO. I mean, look, you got to understand. Historically, when we get conflicts like this, I did buy the Nasdaq here, and we got a big green candle. I don't think this is news, but it could be something. But Iran's going to deny until the very end that talks are underway. This is what they've done, not just in this current conflict, but just in general in historical conflicts like this, right? So they're going to deny that talks are underway. That's kind of how it goes. All right, guys, we got about a minute left, about 1 minute. I got to take some off here ahead of this report, though, I think. No? We're getting close to 30K. I'll leave a little bit on here for this report. But be careful. Yeah, oil is fading and the Nasdaq's pumping here, so it could be geopolitically related. Samsung says it's exploring ways to enhance shareholder returns. But again, we have 30 seconds left here, chat, until this data drop. 30 seconds. Less than 30 now. Still watching yields. All right, guys, here we go. 20 seconds. Again, the ADP data is expected at 68K. Drops in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report. ADP data, 44,000. Weaker jobs than expected. 44K versus 68K expected. 44,000. And look, the market originally reacted well to this. We showed up at 44,000 versus 68K expected. I'll put this data up on screen, but we showed up again at 44,000. My trade is going the other way now, though. I'll have to cut it. We are green on that trade net, though. But yeah, jobs did show up weaker than expected at 44,000. The market does not like it so far here. Here's the data right here on screen. Again, the previous number wasn't changed at all, but 44,000 versus the previous 68K, or previous 98K. So again, weaker jobs than expected. 44,000 for ADP data versus roughly 68K or so expected here. So again, 44K versus 68K expected. Weaker jobs than expected, 44,000. And again, maybe the first move is the wrong move. Maybe you could argue we get a little buy the dip scenario here, but we showed up at 44,000 versus 68K expected here. I'll put this up on screen so you can see it. But again, 44,000 versus 68K expected. There's the data on screen. So far, we have a negative reaction in markets. Yeah, so again, the data is out. It could be a first move is the wrong move. You could certainly argue that the market wants weaker jobs. It opens up the door to more cuts. If we have weaker jobs, it opens up the door for more rate cuts potentially here. And so you could certainly argue this, but we'll take a deeper look at this report. But yeah, again, 44,000 here for ADP data. 44K. Previously it was 98,000. But ADP jobs did show up weaker than expected here. They expected 65 plus. We showed up at 44,000. Is this a buy or sell, guys? Buy or sell? What do you guys think? It should lower yields, is what this should do, right? So if we take a look at 2-year treasuries, weaker jobs means the market, the Fed might have to make more focus on on the labor market versus inflation. Here's yields right now. They have pulled back some on this report, as they should. But again, ADP jobs data did show up weaker than expected. Buy everything. Buy. Too risky. Low yields. Look at gold here, guys, on this report. Gold is really benefiting from this report, up to 42.65s. So gold is killing it from this report. You can see it pushed up exactly. Here's where the report came out, and look at gold. The report came out here. Look at gold climb. So gold is climbing up on this report here. But again, weaker jobs than expected. Again, 44,000. If we actually read this report here, it says job changers are highly sensitive to real-time economic conditions, and their rapid pay growth implies supply constraints in parts of the labor market. Typical hiring patterns, meanwhile, are changing as employers react to shifting macroeconomic conditions. And so again, you can kind of see the biggest weakness I'm showing was in small businesses. The biggest weakness was in small business. Large and mid-sized businesses grew. Natural resource and mining dropped 6K. Trade, utility, and transportation dropped 8K. Leisure and hospitality, probably from the World Cup dynamic here, dropped 11,000 on this jobs report. But yeah, jobs were weaker than expected, 44K in July. And so I wonder if this is going to give us a look at what the market might do here regarding payrolls. NFP data is coming out on Friday. This is just the prelim, kind of the ADP jobs data. First look at July, though. It's prelim NFP data. So we'll see if we get even weaker NFP this week. ADP, again, weaker than expected. We'll see if we get a mirroring NFP report on Friday. I'm going to put it in sub-only mode. But, man, yeah, gold, guys. Look at gold here. Gold reacting really, really well to this. Still think the market might like this data here. So I'm going to buy. We're already green on the day. But I still think the market might reverse and head back up after it digests some of this data. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm going to go ahead and buy. Yeah, I mean, look, it is a pullback in labor. It came in at 44,000. Previous was 98,000. It was expected at about 68K. So much weaker jobs than expected here, at least on the prelim front. Hey, thank you, BH Snipes, my guy. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you becoming a member, my friend. Thank you, sir. Great way to help support the channel. We appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you, dude. But yeah, Kashkari is still speaking here. Gold is still moving up. Google, I just got news that Google is in talks for a $1.5 billion plus deal with AI coding agent startup Mechanize, according to Business Insider. We are in a small trade, and we are starting to head up here. Let's see if it holds, though. Yeah, Bitcoin's going to react good. Hey, thank you, BH. I appreciate you, my friend. Bitcoin's going to react well to this report, probably, because, again, going back to what I talked about prior to this report, Bitcoin wants low interest rates, right? And what do you need to get low interest rates? You need low oil prices, i.e. lower inflation right now. But you also need weak labor to justify the cuts to some extent, right? And this was weak labor. And so, yeah. So Bitcoin should be reacting well to this report. Let's see what it's doing. Bitcoin. I'm in this trade right now, so I don't want to put Bitcoin popping up to 64 plus. Over 64,000 for Bitcoin, almost to 64,500s here. Hit highs today of 64,507s right now for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and gold are kind of moving in unison. But look at gold, still pushing higher. Weed would not help from quitting nicotine. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you this. That was never my plan. Okay, look, we're popping up a little bit. Oh, dude, I missed the big pop here. Look at this big pop. Let's see if this is news related or whether this is just late reactions to ADP data. It looks news driven. I gotta cut it now. It's a big candle wick. Again, we are green on the day still, but I don't feel like getting stuck in some big crazy news candle. But again, ADP jobs did show up weaker than expected at 44,000. Yields did go down a little bit. Gold reacted well. Bitcoin reacted well on lower yields. 2-year treasuries right around 4.2% today. I made $300. Thank you so much. Hey, nice, Dominic. Congrats, bro. Hey, I'm not. Don't copy me though, dude. I have half the time I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah. Of course, this is not weed, guys. This is nicotine, man. Get your mind out the gutter, bro. Like, y'all think I can do that and run this stream, dude? Look, I don't even know what that is. Let me just say that. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I think I might have gotten faked out of this trade too on the NASDAQ. I probably could have held it, but risk management, you know, I'm just going to get out. NASDAQ going up to 930s here. No, Kato, it's not. Get your mind out of the gutter, guys. If you're a pro, you could. I guess I'm not a pro. I don't think I could. I know, it's all good. I'm messing around with you guys. Yeah, morally, I have nothing against it. I mean, I don't know what that is, but morally, I have nothing against it. I think we waste tax dollars persecuting people for it. Alcohol, objectively worse. You know, we got to have an even standard here in things that are legal. We can't just pander to law enforcement in the prison industry. You know, unfortunately, we do that a lot, but yeah, sugar probably is worse than all of it. Chad always says he needs a cushion on the day. Maybe it's a couch cushion, bro. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to ask this question again, and maybe I'm just engagement farming. Does anybody want to buy SpaceX? You know, does anybody want to buy SpaceX today? SpaceX raised CapEx 6 times what it was. Freaked it out. SpaceX down. AMD raised CapEx to 808 million, or billion, I'm sorry, with a B. And it's down. SanDisk earnings after the bell today. Let's see what we get, but nobody wants to buy SpaceX. No, never. No one on Earth wants to buy SpaceX. What about on Mars, bro? 77? No. No, yes. Buy AMD because I am down bad, please. Yeah, I mean, listen, if there's one thing I know, it's that I can move the market like Warren Buffett. I'm not telling everybody to buy AMD. You know, I would never do that. But maybe buy AMD. I don't know. Not investment advice. Don't copy me. CapEx fear is prevalent. Yeah. Wait for $80. I mean, I own it, but $60 is the target to start dollar cost averaging. Yeah, and we've had Kashkari speaking a lot, but again, ADP jobs did show up weaker than expected. Private companies only added 44,000 jobs in July, a big slowdown from the 98,000 or whatever it was the prior month, and well below the market expectations here. Again, almost all the job gains came from healthcare-related sectors. Goods-producing industries are seeing net losses in labor, so... All right, so if you don't want to buy SpaceX today, chat, what do you want to buy? What sector? Again, I asked this earlier. Memory? What did I ask earlier? It was chips or software. What do you want to buy, chips or software? Yeah, AMD, I don't know, bro. The CapEx on AMD is absolutely wild, though. 808 billion is a freaking crazy thing. Gold? Yeah, I mean, gold might not be the wrong answer today. Its gold has been pushing up. It's at 4270s right now for gold. Gold miners buy energy. I mean, I'm not necessarily against the thesis of like, hey, we've seen so much back and forth regarding oil prices over the last 6 months. I'm not against that thesis. Like, okay, like markets are down or oil is down significantly over the last 24 hours. If we go by historical trends, especially recent historical trends, you could certainly argue oil is going to be higher tomorrow, next week, or whatever the story is. And again, I'm not necessarily against that. The only thing though is like $75 a barrel oil. Like I might buy oil if it hits like 60, like high 60s. I'd probably buy oil because I think that's pre-conflict state of oil. And I think even if we get a deal, oil shouldn't be at the pre-conflict state because it's obviously a little bit more scarce. Obviously a little bit more scarce, even if we get a 60-day ceasefire, which is what they're talking about now. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not against buying oil. I don't know if I want to buy it here though. How many times will John say gold today? What are the odds on poly market? Yeah, if gold goes up, gold could go really well today. People are buying a lot of gold. Gold has hit 4260s right now. Gold has pushed up a lot since the ADP jobs report weakened, showing lower yields, potentially more rate cuts, and more stimulation. Let's look at the Fed odds after looking at gold here. But in regards to getting a rate hike, let's see what we get here. I haven't looked at this today. Here's gold. Still 57% chance that we're going to raise rates in the next meeting by December. At this point in time, there's an 83% chance that we will end the year with higher rates than we have now. Waiting for oil to get cheaper for Max Century. Gold could be telling us something about geopolitics. Yeah, I mean, gold was moving up before the ADP report, to be honest. But it is up a lot today. This is a big move for gold. We are being trolled now, dude. Listen. Ben Alderton. Okay, listen. There's one thing I don't do. Alright, like, you know, I draw a line in the sand with trolls. You know, I would never troll you guys. I'm a beacon of honesty here. You know, and listen, guys. I don't do this to make money. I don't get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and spend hours sitting in front of a computer screen because I like money. I don't even like money. I don't even know what that is. All right, I'm just here to help people, guys. Like, that's what I do. We're just here to help. You know, like, we just like teaching. But if you want to check out some of my sponsors, you better use my link BGT, my code BGT on most major prop firms. Apex has the cheapest accounts in the game right now. You can get Apex accounts right now for $15 each. I'll put the link up. It's a great way to help support the channel. There's no PDT rule in futures. You can day trade, take less risk, learn how to trade. Check out Apex right here. Guys, Apex is right there. Check it out. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. Use code BGT for the max discount. Real quick, though, oil is moving a little bit here. I think oil is actually jumping up some right now. And so look at oil pop a little bit here over the last 5 minutes. I see CPC oil, the Caspian pipeline oil loadings have been suspended after a brief resumption following safety concerns and a tanker shortage after drone attacks. So because of safety concerns and tanker shortages after drone attacks, the Caspian pipeline loadings suspended after a brief resumption here for CPC data. That's probably what's moving oil higher here. BGT, Mike. It's BGT. Yeah, for a little while, it sounded like some of those pity stock gurus out here. I just like teaching, guys. I don't, you know, I'm not doing this to make money. I mean, my mentorship's $3,000 a month, but look, guys, like, I'm not doing this to make money here, you know? All right, so oil jumped up on the Caspian pipeline news regarding it shutting operations down over safety concerns. Oil jumped up to 76.60 barrel with gold, or with oil. Oh, sorry, I'm bumping my mic here. With gold pulling down on it as well, which kind of makes sense. I mean, gold is rate sensitive. Higher oil is going to push yields up, meaning less people buy gold. Bitcoin's probably reacting negatively to this as well, but we do have a pullback in gold. And the NASDAQ on this news has pulled all the way back down. It's at 29,900s now, under that here. So was Mitch trying to tell people to buy every SPAC known to man, then vanishing? You talking about money, Mitch? John told us he would never troll us. I mean, dude, I would never troll you guys, dude. I don't even know what that is. Typing gold every time John says gold. All right. Is gold a buy today, guys? All right, so we're hitting that 200 exponential moving average here. Again, oil has popped up on this news, but it's starting to dip down some. I might buy this dip at the 200 EMA. It might be a little too late. I would have rathered it at like 900s. Don't talk bad about Money Minch, bro. That's my friend. Wait for breakout confirmation, then buy gold. Is there... Alright, so yeah, I should have bought the 200 exponential here. Thought about it. I wanted to. I didn't. And now there's regret. Look at the NASDAQ jump up, though. I wanted this 200 exponential moving average. You can see that right here. I love buying it around these points. You can see why. Like, algorithms react to the 200 exponential a lot. All right, let's see what we get here. But again, the NASDAQ's still bouncing right at the 200 EMA. Ah, dude, I should have bought it. Whoa, look at the news, or look at the move. What's oil doing? Gold. NASDAQ's just getting close to that 30,000 level here. But look at the NASDAQ run up a little bit, getting vault back up after pulling back on the Caspian pipeline closing. Don't worry, gold will come down. Last time similar thing happened in 2013 and gold came down to a level. Oil crashing. I mean, look at the... Oh, okay, look here. NASDAQ just broke highs. NASDAQ just broke... Not quite... Recent highs. Not highs of the day, but recent highs. Look at it. Look at the NASDAQ load up here. Whoa. Sun's in my eyes here, guys. Look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ fighting its way higher. Hit almost 9. I should have bought the 200 EMA. That's better. I don't see any news. It's looking light still. Again, CPC oil loading suspended after brief resumptions over safety concerns. I see Treasury Q3 QRA reiterates that based on current projected borrowing needs, anticipates maintaining nominal coupon and FRN auction sizes for at least the next several quarters. But I don't see any news here. It must be stock-related news if there is some here. Let's take a look. Yeah, I don't see anything. Just a bounce at the 200 exponential, technical bounce, looks like here. Hey, nice Telmo. Congrats, dude. Yeah, Shopify up big. 30+% for Shopify. Look at it. I mean, it's giving some back now. I'm not really seeing it on NVIDIA either, though. I mean, NVIDIA's up a little bit. NASDAQ up to 945s. NASDAQ's still creeping up, though. Look at this. Yeah, 30,000 is the poll question here. 67% of people think the NASDAQ, or at least the NQ futures, do break 30K. We're only $68, $57 away from it. SpaceX shares are tanking after out of control rocket. No. All right, guys. So markets are moving up. We do have ISM data later on today as well. I mean, I think AMD, if it starts to drop more after the bell, it could freak the market out, right? So, like, AMD's down big. 808 billion capex. The previous one, I think, was like 400. And so, if the opening bell has been volatile lately, guys. So, the opening bell, we've seen a lot of movement at the opening bell the last, like, 3 weeks, I would say. If some of that volatility unlocks today at the opening bell, obviously, we could see some dips in markets, especially if we get pullbacks in AMD and AMD continues. The report was good for AMD. They beat expectations. The issue again is capex, and they didn't beat it by crazy amounts, but they beat and raised. But capex spending is still the biggest single concern for markets right now, regardless of whether companies beat and raise. If they raise capex by a big margin, which AMD did, stocks have been tumbling down on that type of news. And so it's very similar to like Google. It's very similar to Meta, although Meta had bad numbers all around, I would argue. But capex is the single biggest fear in markets right now regarding earnings reports. And again, this is leading into NVIDIA earnings in a couple weeks, right? NVIDIA does release their earnings report in a couple weeks. That is a huge thing for markets right now. That is certainly something you want to pay attention to. NVIDIA is the single biggest, I would say, the single biggest AI name in the market. And so NVIDIA needs a Goldilocks situation, in my opinion. They need to have reasonable capex, meanwhile beating and raising guidance. And I don't know if we're going to get that or not. I'm sure Michael Burry is going to be tuning into NVIDIA's earnings report. But yeah, NVIDIA earnings the single biggest catalyst right now coming in markets, I think. We got CPI next week. We got a lot of stuff. We got NFP data this Friday. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, AMD price to perfection and earnings weren't all that. Made some decent cash on SpaceX. I expect continuations. Yeah, NVIDIA's the flagship for sure. All right, we are slightly green on the day. It's been back and forth. I'm really kind of mad I didn't buy this 200 exponential breakout though. So, still a little upset. That's all right. Again, oil's still moving though. Again, the president, I'm going to keep posting this. President said this.
The strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the strait's going to be open.
President said that yesterday. We had Kashkari speaking this morning. But again, some news sources are reporting a new security incident in the Red Sea. So again, some news sources are reporting a new security incident in the Red Sea. It's not really moving oil like that though, but gold continuing to fall down on just more escalation potential. Yeah, look at the dip here. Is it time to buy the dip in gold today? I almost want to buy this pullback right here. Although this incident in the Red Sea, not really moving gold. Let me see. I'm going to buy gold here. Right around the 50s. Take 4 contracts of gold right here on the long side. See if we get a bounce. I mean, if gold goes to 0, I mean, I'm loading the truck up, you know? I mean, free gold's free gold, you know? If there's one investment advice I can give in markets, it's if gold's free, buy it up. Steve, why do you keep saying that simple? Yeah, that's not even a symbol here. I don't even know what you're saying. I'm about saying buy gold now. If gold goes 0, buy it up is what I'm saying. All right, so I am in gold right now. I'm not going to add any more to this, though. I want to give it time to consolidate and bounce potentially here. Yeah, Shadow says if it's 0, it's free. No? Yeah, I mean, you missed the joke. It's all right. Sometimes the jokes hit. You know, it's a risk you got to take. All right, so we're in gold, very small. I just want to see if we get a little bounce here. Oil still at 76.20s a barrel. Yeah, Nasdaq is close to 30,000 though. Maybe at the opening bell is when we're gonna see some of that volatility unlocked. But the Nasdaq close enough to 30K to make me curious. I want to see if we move up there to test 30K. I think that's a big milestone level. Sometimes they can have kind of a magnet effect, and so I do want to see if we get close to that level. Hey, thank you, Drop. I appreciate you using my code, my friend. Thank you, brother. Gold giving back some gains here. Yeah, I mean, it's down. That's why I'm buying it right now. It seems kind of cheap, but again, some news sources are reporting a new security incident in the Red Sea. That could be pushing oil down, or pushing oil higher. SpaceX continues to fall. MU still at 880s. Yeah, Apex right now has the they have their $59 100K no activation fee account. So again, but again on Apex right now, if you want cheap accounts, most day traders lose money here. So like you're gonna lose day trading, and if you fund your own account thousands, you're probably gonna lose it. Apex is good because they got the cheapest accounts in the game. I think you can get an account right now, 1670 with coupon code BGT, 1670, or you can get it for $15 each basically if you buy a 5-pack bundle. It's only $75 for 5 accounts. If you want end of day, it's a little bit more, but if you want no activation fee, you can get 100K right now for $59. So if you wanted to learn on prop firms, Apex might be a good one just because they're so cheap. I'll put the link up. You can check out Lucid Flex as well if you want great rules once you're funded as well. But here's the link. Check it out. Yeah, I'm in gold right now. I'm just kind of being patient here, waiting. I think that's a big fast pullback. I think maybe we bounce some, but we'll see. We'll port the 100K Apex accounts max contracts. All right, so now I'm basically flat in this gold position. Gold's starting to wiggle here, though. Look at that candle. Let's see. Oil. NASDAQ. Israel coming out with some escalating things. Buy an account for my wife. She wants to try trading. At least she wants to try trading, bro. My wife is just not into it. She does not give a flying F about trading. I really want her to be, though. I really want my daughter to be as well. My daughter's 17. I really wish she would get involved with trading. But there's a rule in parenting. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Whatever you want your kids to be into, they're not into. Whatever that is. I love jiu-jitsu. I want my kids to train. They could care less about trading. I want my kids to trade. They could care less about trading. No. That's the basic rule of parenting. Whatever you want them to like, they don't like. Yeah, you want your kids to use a Samsung, they get an Apple. You want your kids to train jiu-jitsu, they don't want to do that. You want your kids to learn about trading and markets, they could care less. Maybe I buy them too much stuff, you know? Like, bro, if I wanted money as a kid, dude, my dad would be like, bro, you better go cut the freaking grass. You better go freaking do the dishes, kid. I didn't get paid most of the time for it either. So, maybe I just buy them too much stuff. Maybe it's time to pull back on buying them. Maybe they'll be into trading then. Maybe I should just give them evals and tell them, get funded, take payouts, and then you can buy your clothes. You know? Hey, nice shake and bake. Yeah, honestly, my kids are finally at the age where they can help out here. So it does come back a little bit. You know, like you have kids, and when they're really young, you're like, man, there's a lot of work, right? Now that they get older, you can just be like, yo, y'all better go do the dishes, you know? Yeah. All right, guys. It's looking like I'm going to have to get out of gold. I'll let it sit here. We already agreed on the day prior to this trade, but... Hey, thank you, Dale. Appreciate it. You are already influencing them, developing a passion for something and making a living of it. That is worth much more than them actually doing the things you do. No, 100%. I don't force it. The more you try to force anything, the less they want to do it. You got to make it fun, and that's hard to do. Yeah, that's right. It's a bear trap today for gold. Do you agree? I mean, I'm long in gold, so I hope you're wrong. But at this point, I'm down in my gold long, so maybe it's time to cut it. I'm still in this, though. I'm still long in gold. Yeah. Well, that's definitely true with drop. They definitely think that sometimes. Again, SpaceX is planning moon factories powered by humanoid robots. Again, SpaceX, I'm seeing a news on the tape. SpaceX is planning moon factories, apparently, powered by humanoid robots. Oh, crap. All right, we're out of this. We're getting out of gold. Who's bullish on moon factories with robots? Memory's basically flat overnight, Mo. Yeah, gold's still pulling back here. NASDAQ dipping a little bit as well. I'm going to make sure there's no news. I don't think there is, but... Anthropic is building a team to design its own in-house AI chips as it faces surging demand for its models, according to Business Insider. I see another report by I-24 saying Iran will not rush to remove the mines because it will only weaken the control they have gained, according to 2 diplomatic sources. Again, so Anthropic is going to get into chips. They're confirming plans to build in-house AI chip team, according to Business Insiders. Is this negative impacting like NVIDIA? AMD's not really moving some, and neither is NVIDIA. Disney says it's seen weaker consumer count in parks in Shanghai and Hong Kong in Q3. That's continuing into Q4. Kind of back and forth price action, though. We're almost at the 9 a.m. scrum here. Ugh. Best deal they can make at this point is only a ceasefire. Where's the Dow at today? S&P's still been pushing up a lot, though. Here's the Dow. Dow's pulling back some as well. Gold continuing its dip. SpaceX still testing the lows of the day here. It's down to 110s for SpaceX. 110.45s. Gold's just pulling back, but look at SpaceX get close to lows here. NASDAQ continues to fall, though. We're in a range here on the NASDAQ, though. 9 o'clock scrum should happen in about 4 minutes, though. Are y'all bullish or bearish today? Bullish, neutral. Yeah, I mean, look, we're kind of back and forth. If we look at the NASDAQ here, we are in a pretty obvious range here. I still think 30K is going to be a target, but it really depends on what happens after the opening bell. And you got really 2 scenarios here. I mean, you got 3. We could chop, but AMD could continue down, dragging chips, dragging sentiment, dragging markets down, or AMD could fill some of the gap on the upside and rebound, and then the NASDAQ heads to 30K. Obviously, we have news that could move things back or forth here, but you know, one of those 2 scenarios is most likely to play out. Again, AMD down a lot on high capex fears. And so like if AMD continues, obviously it could drag the rest of the market down. So I don't know. Pullbacks for me, bearish, bullish, month-long rally incoming. The S&P is way too close to all-time highs for me. Palantir, AMD, patience, PANW. Oil's continuing to slowly uptick higher though here. So look at oil. Highs of the day are on oil are right here at 76.70s. We're at 76.50s right now. So we're getting closer to the highs of the day on oil. All right, so 30% of U.S. workers now say they can no longer function without AI, according to a GoTo survey. Again, Michael Burry is dumping his Microsoft bets, warning of a market top. Anthropic, again, recently confirmed its plans to build AI in-house chips. Feels toppy. SanDisk this afternoon. Sideways accumulation. Be bearish on gold until October right now, as gold has hit upper circuit of 4,200s. FOMC will push it to 36. Do y'all think we raise rates in the next meeting here? Do we raise rates next month? Yes or no? A lot of it is geopolitically based, but I think we are going to have a CPI report that shows up higher as well. You know, so at this point in time, it's looking likely that we'll raise rates next meeting. That could always change. It's always subject to change. But again, last CPI, we had June CPI data, and oil went down a lot in June. So with that, we had lower CPI data, lower than expected, lower than previously. And now we kind of have the opposite dynamic heading into the next FOMC decision here. What do I mean by the opposite dynamic? What I mean is like now heading into the next FOMC meeting, in July, oil was higher. So in July, oil pushed higher, got up to $90+ a barrel. And even though oil's back down to 76 now, we could still see a high CPI print for oil being as high as it was in July. So there's 9 o'clock. So here's the 9 a.m. scrum here. We are starting to see some movement in oil. Look at oil dip. This has been moving a lot on the 9 a.m. scrum data, unless this is news related here, which it doesn't look like it is based off of the NASDAQ. But look at oil, guys, come down here at 9 o'clock. Is gold ripping up? Yeah, gold's pushing up a little bit. Oil's moving down now. NASDAQ's moving higher as well at 9 a.m. But look at oil dip here at 9 o'clock. So I asked people, are we going to get a rate hike? We're kind of split down the middle. A lot of no's and yeses. Oil down to $76 a barrel. The 9 a.m. scrum just dropped, Steve, is one of the things here. Unless we got other news, which I don't think we do. I think it's just 9 o'clock. But look at oil dip here, guys. Oil down to 75. This is a lot of movement for 9 a.m. And so I'm wondering if this is news of some sort. Could be 9 o'clock data, though, really. Orders start going through at 9 a.m. for some brokers here. But that's a big candle for oil all of a sudden. Gold is simultaneously going higher. NASDAQ is moving higher here as well. Look at the oil movement here. Oil just tapped $76 a barrel here. Strange. Yeah. Again, I think it's just 9 o'clock data. Oil is falling though. Okay, so a senior diplomatic source tells Al Jazeera only 1 or 2 issues remain unresolved in Iran-Oman talks, according to, again, a senior diplomatic source tells Al Jazeera. I'm almost certainly pronouncing that wrong, but look at the NASDAQ fall. Or look at oil dip. Oil now under 76 a barrel now. See if it holds down here. But again, we got less than 30 minutes until the opening bell. Yeah, gold's bouncing up simultaneously. Again, gold is going to go up when oil goes down. Doesn't necessarily mean big news. It's just oil falling down. You know, this big red candle making gold push up on lower yields. Nasdaq's starting to climb up here as well, though. Again, Gulf official sees a 50-50 chance of a U.S.-Iran deal by Friday, according to CNN. So more optimism about a potential deal. Nasdaq starting to move higher. Look at the Nasdaq climb up to 940s here. Again, a Gulf official sees a 50-50 shot of a U.S.-Iran deal by Friday. I also saw news, according to a senior diplomatic source, only 1 or 2 issues remain unresolved in Iran-Oman talks. So it's looking better. Oil's falling down some. Nasdaq jumped up a little bit. S&P jumped up a little bit here. I see S&P move, and it's at all-time highs. But again, 2 news releases. Only 1 or 2 issues remain regarding unresolved Iran talks, according to a senior diplomatic source. And also a Gulf official sees 50-50 chance of U.S.-Iran deal by Friday, according to CNN. Do we get a deal by Friday, chat? Insider trading candle. Yeah, 1 or 2 issues. Yeah, if it's I'm assuming one of those is nuclear, which means that like we could still be far off here. But I'm assuming 1 or 2 of those is nuclear. All right, guys, we are at 940s here. 940s. Assuming oil stabilized a little bit. Our oil continues to fall down now. 75.80s a barrel. No, fake deal. Hell no, no deal. Yes, one of them is nuclear. The other is Strait of Hormuz control. All right, so again, the president, according to CNN, so here's some stuff that just dropped. Trump claimed U.S. officials were having very good discussions with Iranian counterparts, but doubled down on threats to hit the country really hard if officials back out again of a deal. In separate comments, he also suggested an agreement on the Strait of Hormuz could come as early as today. What does Iran say? Iran has so far denied ongoing peace talks, including direct communication with Washington, insisting that officials are solely speaking with Oman to iron out navigation through the strait. Some diplomats have stated that the unblocking of the channel, a key bargaining chip, could revive discussions. So that is what we got going on today. Gold did bounce a lot though, so gold's benefiting from the lower oil dips at 9 o'clock. And the Nasdaq's still pushing higher here. We're at 950s. Just tapped 950s in the NQ. Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs, the discussion included consultations between Iran and Oman regarding the establishment of a route of passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and Arachi provided explanations on this, according to Tasnim. Oil's not really popping. Oil's down. Nasdaq's popping. Gold is popping back up some. S&P's moving up as well. Look at the S&P here, guys. Yeah, I think Nasdaq wants 30K. Again, that could be like a magnet level here. Yeah, so again, Italian foreign minister discusses Iran-Oman consultations on establishing a Strait of Hormuz passage route with Iran's foreign minister. All right, now look at the NASDAQ dip here. Hold on. Could just be normal flow movement. Oil still falling down, look. The oil over the last 5 minutes has fallen a lot. Again, the IDF said it began conducting stuff in South Lebanon. But oil's still dipping here ahead of the opening bell. We got 20 minutes now. Tempted to buy this, but there's obviously risk. Buy oil, I mean. Again, the ADP report, like I said earlier, came out weaker than expected, and this all heads into the jobs report on Friday. NASDAQ going up to almost 950s here. Yeah, I mean, I look at the dollar index. The dollar index is relevant to all this stuff as well, but look at oil. Here's the Dixie. Dixie's still under 100 from lower oil prices, lower yields, less people using the dollar to buy bonds. But yeah, the dollar index at 99.70s. Here's gold. Kind of shows you why I like the 200 exponential in gold. S&P still breaking, highs. We'll see if we break all-time highs at the open again. But the S&P's at all-time highs this morning. NASDAQ's getting close to 30K too. 30,000's right here. I'm looking at 29,800s on the bottom end here though. Here's 29,800s. Look at all the confirmation at 29,800s here. So like if we start to break down like this and we break under 29,800s, maybe I'll look at a short level here to see if we continue down, because look at all the confirmation here. So a lot of confirmation at 29,800s. On the top end, again, I'm looking at 30K. Got really close to it yesterday here. 30,000, big whole dollar number. Resistance. So if we start to run up close to it, I might attack a range up to 30,000, if that makes sense, at the opening bell. But we've been in a big range, but kind of flat heading into the open. I'm watching AMD a lot at the opening bell for sure. Again, President said U.S. officials are holding, quote, very good talks with Iran and suggested an agreement could come as early as today. Iran's essentially denying this, though. So, we'll see. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes left. What if Burry is correct? Like I said earlier, we talked about what Burry hedged and what Burry did to some of his positions. He got out of Microsoft long. He closed his Oracle shorts and puts. So he got out of Microsoft long, closed his entire Oracle short position. He closed some of his Palantir put options. He did roll NVIDIA into 2027. He did roll his Q short position into February of 2027. Still short in everything else, though. Finally, some volatility today. Bro, we've gotten volatility a lot. It's usually weighted for the opening bell, though. So like usually a lot of this volatility has come after the opening bell. And today we do have ISM. I keep forgetting we have ISM PMI data. So wait, today is ISM services data, right? Yeah, we got ISM services data. Yeah, Palantir flying up, man. Palantir's at 160s basically right now. But again, basically markets are optimistic about a Hormuz deal nearing. Hopes are up after an interim deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz is talked about. I need semis to tank today, or semis to tank today. Yeah, watch AMD. Again, AMD down still a lot. It's at 480s right now, but high capex spending on AMD is freaking out markets. So AMD is down pretty significantly here. And again, at the opening bell, we've seen a lot of moves. A lot of big swings at the open recently. And so maybe we'll see a continuation of that trend today with AMD. Again, SpaceX dumped on capex as well, down to 110s, 111s right now. SanDisk reports at the opening bell as well, and memory names are down slightly ahead of this as well. So, yeah, I mean, we could get more volatility. A lot of it has to do with chips in general. But today, AMD is going to be the chip name you probably want to pay attention to just based off of earnings yesterday. AMD might move other sectors just in chips. NVIDIA, you can watch NVIDIA. You know, NVIDIA and AMD are competitors. But NVIDIA's done pretty well. NVIDIA's very green on the day, probably because it is a direct competitor to AMD. But again, high capex spending is still freaking things out. Do you buy or sell before opening bell? Both, I guess. I'm not sure how to answer that. Do you buy or sell before the opening bell? I don't know, man. Chat? I mean, can you all answer that? Yeah, so again, we did have more news about Anthropic's chip aspirations. Anthropic spokesperson says building an in-house silicone team will let us co-design hardware and models. But like I said earlier, we did get news earlier about a senior Gulf official told CNN there's a 50-50 shot of U.S.-Iran reaching a deal by this Friday. Nasdaq's still coming down though, so we are in a very flat range here heading into the open. I can answer or stop trading and run for the hills. Pull out the crystal ball. I like to wait and look for anything fly and invest early. Just a little market manipulation. Hey, what's up, Fibby? SpaceX made commitment to use NVIDIA chips only. Yeah. Are you bullish or bearish on SpaceX? All right, guys, here we go. We got 14 minutes left until the opening bell. We'll trade a little bit more once the opening bell hits. We're too rangy for me to trade this right now. Oil did pull back substantially here, though. Look at oil. Buy or sell oil right now? I think is a good question. Buying SpaceX under 100? Yeah, it might be cheap down there. Should I pick up some of these Lucid daily plans? You know? Again, I usually go with Lucid Flex. But the Lucid Daily looks tempting, especially the EOD one. So like the only criticism for the daily regular one is that it has intraday, but if you go EOD, once you're funded, no activation fee, no consistency rule, and funded in daily payouts. So Again, no activation fee, no consistency in funded, and daily payouts once you're funded. But I think it has intraday in the eval, unfortunately, or in the funded. So I still like Lucid Flex better because Lucid Flex, end of day drawdowns, no daily loss limit, 50% consistency, which I think is reasonable. Once you're funded, end of day drawdowns, no DLL, no consistency. So once you're actually funded in a Lucid Flex, I still think it's the best move here. What do you guys like more, Lucid Flex or Lucid Daily? Again, if you want to check out Lucid, they're an affiliate of mine, so I'm biased, of course. But you can use my code BGT at checkout, get the max discount. Here's the link if you want to check it out. Do you have to trade every day? Absolutely not. I mean, you certainly don't have to. It's probably a better move. There's a very famous quote, money is made in waiting, not in trading, or something like that. And that's absolutely true. You make most money waiting for the right setups versus consistently trading nonstop, you know. Apple's starting to rebound some. Yeah. Daily is better to me. It's like a paycheck every day. I missed the ADP report. ADP report came out much weaker than expected at 44K versus 68,000 expected. This might give a little bit of a look at what we might get for NFP data on Friday this week. Yeah, the big money is not in the buying and selling, but in the waiting. That's the quote right there. I'm now short the NASDAQ, holding through the open. Sometimes no trade is best. I don't trust SpaceX at all. That was fun. I had to clean pee for my dog. Sorry, Tiny. All right, here we go. 5 minutes until the market on open data. We'll see what that looks like. But 5 minutes until MOO data. The Fed's... Bro, why the heck... Look, I don't know why Finance News is reporting this, but it says, according to the Daily Mail, UFO fleet sparks claims of a secret moon base. Why have we had so much moon base news? We got Elon trying to get into the moon base thing run by Optimus robots. Again, the president said food, grocery prices are falling. U.S. economy deserves an A+. This is the second moon base. Different articles about different things regarding moon bases. This is the second article I've seen regarding moon bases, but I don't know why Finance News is reporting this. I feel like a winner not trading today. They're trying to distract us, maybe. All right, guys. Ugh. Watching AMD closely here. We got 4 minutes until the market on open data. Let's see what we get. But 4 minutes. Watching AMD very closely at the opening bell. Amazon had a big quarter. It's up today too. Watching oil, obviously. Watching gold, clearly. You know, gold's still holding, but it's been sideways as well. Maybe we're going to get some volatility at the open. We'll see. Probably Chop City. I don't know, man. The opening bell has not been Chop City lately. You know, the opening bell's been moving. And it's been a great few weeks here. Like, we made some money the last few weeks, but, you know, this is one of those situations where You know, we lost money not yesterday. Yesterday we were mostly flat. The day before that we lost money. So it hasn't been the best start of the week so far. I don't know if I'm green on this week. Let me see. I'm down today. Yeah, this week I'm down 450 bucks. That's all right. You know, could have been worse. Really, we made so much over the last, last month. So. Won't be surprised if people buy AMD for a second wave of selling off. Hey, what's up, Tariq? Dr. Evil. Yeah, definitely Dr. Evil. All right, guys, here we go. Market on open data in less than 2 minutes. Again, Eli Lilly reports surging demand for weight loss drugs. ByteDance apparently won't use distillation for AI models, apparently. Yeah, so again, Anthropic spokesperson says it is building an in-house silicone team to design custom chips for Claude, hiring engineers who have experience across the stack. All right, let's see what the market on open data brings here today, guys. I'm going to put two charts up. I'm going to put the NASDAQ, and I'm going to put gold up. Just because we've seen so much movement here. At 8 a.m., we got a lot of movement for oil. NASDAQ has been pretty flat, though. All right, guys, 50 seconds until the market on open data. I'm red this week. Bro, it's Wednesday morning. Yeah, listen, I'm not giving up on the week here. I still believe I can make money this week. You know, I'm telling myself there's a chance. But, you know, we got to tread lightly. It hasn't been an easy week for me to make money in. NASDAQ, all indices at all-time highs today, even small caps. NASDAQ's not at all-time highs. S&P is, Dow is, but the NASDAQ is not. All right, guys, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here's the market on open data right now. So here it is. A little bit of green on the MOO. NASDAQ heading up here. Let's see what oil's doing. Oil's not really doing too much, but here's the NASDAQ. 29,923 is here on the NQ. Here we go. All right, guys, opening bell is upon us. Oil still dipping down a little bit. MU just jumped up to 870s on some of this MOO data. Look, here's MU. NASDAQ mostly green from the market on open data here. 4 minutes until the opening bell. All right, we're up to 877s here. Move over 67K this week. Hey, good, Kyle. Gold advancing. I mean, kind of. Oil's still falling here. Look at oil. The NASDAQ up, oil down, right ahead of the opening bell. Three minutes. Memory pushing the market. Yeah, I mean, MU jumped. MU still had a lot of control over the market here. Today, I think AMD is one of the big stories, though. heading into the open. Two and a half minutes. Still in a big range. NVIDIA pumping up. Yeah, look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is jumping up here on the MLO data. Apple ramps up next iPhone. Bank of America reiterated its buy rating 380 price target after Apple's purchase commitment surged 28% to $57 billion. Apple also warned of chip and computing supply constraints that could delay AI features, but still Bank of America's bullish. All right, whoa. NASDAQ shooting up ahead of the opening bell. Look at NVIDIA run up here. Oil jumping up simultaneously. MU. Chips rebounding ahead of the opening bell. Maybe some rotation here. A minute and a half here, guys, but look at this bounce. We're up to 29,960s here in the NASDAQ. Look at MU. About a minute left until the opening bell, guys. Let's see what we get, but Spacex even bouncing back some. But this is mostly chip related here. This is MU, NVIDIA. Dragon market's up right now. 1 minute. Starting to rally here. We're at 964s on the NASDAQ here. Getting close to that 30K level. Oil's still flat. Gold's rebounding some. The NASDAQ getting really close to 30K. MU still heading up here. Look at MU. Look at NVIDIA. Again, Goldman Sachs says it's maintaining its 75,000 payroll forecast. All right, here we go. Here's the opening bell. Good luck. And 3, 2, 1. There's the opening bell. Ding, ding, ding. Opening bell is here. I'm going to pull up AMD. I want to see what AMD does right now. AMD's down a little bit at the opening bell. The NASDAQ very close to 30K. NASDAQ getting very, very close to 30. NASDAQ just broke highs. Just got up to 30,000 even here on the NASDAQ. Broke highs of the day. Got up to 997 technically, actually. 996.75. It might go up to that range and then pull back here, though. But, again, MU still heading up. Watching AMD, though. Here's MU. I can't trade yet. I got to wait 5 minutes to trade, but markets are reacting well so far today. All right, look at the NASDAQ. Almost tapped 30,000 even here. Look at MU go green on the day. AMD's even pushing up a little bit since the bell, but this is mostly memory related. SanDisk not doing as good, but MU up. SK Hynix up. NVIDIA reacting really well, almost to 220. Look at NVIDIA go. Where's SpaceX? What's it doing? Again, SpaceX down to 110s. NVIDIA got up to 219s. Still trying to get that 30,000 level in the NQ. MU at 895s, almost getting back up to close to 900 here. SpaceX still falling. SpaceX broke lows at 109.40s. The chips have bounced back some at the open. AMD is starting to pull back here, though. I was gonna short, but we've already started pulling back here. We do have ISM PMI today. I might take a short here. I'm back and forth here, though. Again, chips have rebounded a lot. Nasdaq looks strong. Nasdaq back to highs, almost to 30,000 again. That might be like a magnet level here. Nasdaq testing highs of the day again. Again, look at MU, guys. Tap 900s. Nasdaq just tapped 30,000. Didn't hold though. Yeah, right up to 30,000 even. Now we're back up here. Right at 30K on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq broke 30,000. Still try to hold over 30K now though. He tapped it. Kind of in the middle range here though. But we tapped 30K on the Nasdaq. We get back up there now. I'm sure a lot of buys are coming in here on the NQ. On it wanting to break 30,000. There it goes, broke highs again. Picking up some strength now, maybe here. Chips are starting to pull back. Where's Nvidia here? There's a pullback now. Pretty quick pullback here, but looks like we went right back up. Let's see if we hold over 30K now. 30K might be a support level, but it might rip back down and kind of revert. Seems to be holding some though here. Back up to 30,000 on the Nasdaq. Yeah, look at Nvidia still pop. This might break the Nasdaq highs again. Nvidia can keep moving up. Nvidia's starting to dip more here. And the Nasdaq got up to 30,020s. All right, so we've had some strength at the opening bell, specifically in chips. Nasdaq just fell all the way down under some of these levels here. Under 30,000 on the Nasdaq. Is this news? Whoa. Look at that pullback. That's a red candle for sure on the Nasdaq. Look at that thing. Hold on. Whoa. Let me see if this is news related. Hold on. It's a big candle, not small. Trump administration plans to expand tax incentives. He made a Truth Social post, but none of it's just politically related. What a candle. I don't see any news from this though. Let me see if oil's moving. Oil's not really moving here. AMD had a big turnaround. Nvidia's still doing pretty good. MU, SanDisk pulling back some. Look at SanDisk dropping here. I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I think shorting makes more sense now after that candle here, but MU's getting bought back up too, getting close to 900s here, so I'm gonna wait. It's not geopolitically related. There's no news there. I would short this, but the problem is like MU is still close to $900. AMD starting to fight its way back up, and I think AMD might want 500s, but yeah, I'm gonna wait. Look at the 200 EMA holding all day though. Where do we go? We went to the 200 exponential, 200 exponential, 200 exponential, 200 exponential. So MU's pushing at 898, almost to 900s here. AMD's bouncing up. It's at 493s. Nvidia specifically here is up to 220s. But yeah, I thought another short looked trappy, and I was right. So at least so far. Wait, there's MU pulling back. Nvidia up to 221s almost here though. Again, if you want to help support the channel, check out Apex. Apex has their big discounts right now. You can get an account for $15 on Apex if you buy a 5-pack bundle right now. Again, no PDT rule. It's a great way to help support our free content. Everything we do here is free. We don't sell a course. We don't sell a service. We don't claim to be experts. We cover data as soon as it drops and break it all down for you here. So if you appreciate that, we appreciate you guys. And again, use code BGT at checkout. You'll get the max discount. There's the Apex link. They are an affiliate of mine. Of course, I'm biased here. But 30,000 is right here, chat. So 30,000 right here. And we're kind of sideways into a range here. See if we get up to 30K. There's 30K right here. Yeah, chips are trying to hold. A little spicier here, though. We do have services PMI in 5 minutes. Look at the NASDAQ rip. NASDAQ just broke highs. 30,031 is the new highs on the NASDAQ here. Again, we do have ISM services. Oil just dumped, though, on this move. So this might be geopolitics here. Hold on, let's see. Oil just dumped down on that NASDAQ rip here, though, guys. But Nvidia up to 221s. Tempted to buy a pullback now, but man, look at it. Look at the rips. Oil down, almost green, or almost red on the day. MU pushing up. Nvidia hit 221s just now, so Nvidia is rising really quickly here. Again, services PMI drops in 4 minutes. ISM services is the better one, though, the bigger one. I'm going to buy 30K right here and see if it holds. All right, we got 4 contracts right now. I gotta sell before services PMI data. I'm gonna get out about half here. I don't like the movement. And MU's up to 900s here. All right, there's 30K break. Pushing back up towards these high levels again. There we go. There we go. I'm going to take half off. Sit on the rest. MU's up to 902s here. All right, guys, so services PMI releases in 2.5 minutes. Again, the 9:45 one's not the big one. The 10 a.m. one is the bigger one. Again, we're at 904s. All right, we're going to get out at the top of the range here. I don't like waiting for the high break. But the NASDAQ's about to get there. We got a cushion now. We can take larger risk here, so we'll take some larger size. Yeah, we might have news about a draft deal. Oil did dump a little bit. Again, the draft agreement by the Iranian and Omani negotiators awaits final approval from Iran's supreme leader, two regional officials told the Associated Press today. Again, the draft agreed by the Iranian and Oman negotiators awaits final approval from Iran's supreme leader, two regional officials told the Associated Press today. This is helping markets move up. Oil is down. Oil's still technically up on the day, though, but it might not stay there. Look at NVIDIA pullback, though. So here's the problem, is that NVIDIA's dipping. MU's ripping up, though, so we kind of have some counter movements. MU's up to 912s, almost 913s. All right, there's the NASDAQ dip here. I'm tempted to buy a pullback, but the data releases in 40 seconds. So look at NVIDIA dip. I'm tempted to buy it on the NASDAQ here. But we're up so much from the NQ on the day. All right, here's the data release in 40 seconds, guys. 40 seconds. Again, services PMI expected at 53.6. This one might not move markets, though. The 10 a.m. one could. So we'll see. All right, here's the release right now. So the release just dropped. We should up stronger than expected at 54.6 versus 53.6 expected. So stronger than expected services PMI here as well. Again, I'll put this up on screen now. Services PMI again, 54.6 versus 53.6 expected. Pulling back some here. I might look at 30K as a dip level. Again, we'll put this up on screen right now so you can see it. I'll put a timer up for for ISM services data now as well. We get down to 30K, I'll buy it. I need 30 though. We might bounce at the short-term moving average here, which we kind of are so far. But it seems a little greedy buying here, no? I need 30K for a dip. I don't know if we're going to get it either, but I need 30. Again, the news earlier didn't really affect markets like you might think it would. We had, again, news that the draft agreement between Iran and Oman negotiators is waiting final approval. But oil didn't really move that much, to be honest. It's still technically red. It's still technically green on the day. Yeah, markets just don't trust it that much anymore, for sure. Deutsche cuts SpaceX price target from 235 or 255 to 235. All right, so here's some of the news though. Nasdaq is pushing towards highs of the day here. Over 30,000 on the Nasdaq. Again, the news is that the Strait of Hormuz reopening plan proposes toll-free transit for ships. Iran and Oman proposal reportedly includes no transit tolls or service fees. Ship would enter via the Iran side channel and exit through Oman under coordinated traffic management. It includes a 60-day toll-free transit period if approved. It could pave the way for more U.S.-Iran negotiations. But all right, guys, 11 minutes. Nasdaq right at the highs of the day here. Are you guys green or red so far today? I think I'm kind of green. Hold on, let me see. I think I'm kind of green. Yeah, we are green. We got a cushion, but it's small. I'm going to wait for services PMI. I'm also tempted to kind of short this, though. But look at MU, guys. MU has hit 920s this morning. AMD is back up to $500 a share here. SpaceX is even... SpaceX is about flat, but NVIDIA is very green. Tempted to short this right here, though. I'm going to short a very small position and then just add to it if it goes in my favor here. It's risky to short highs, but... I think we've gone up a lot, and maybe we'll start pulling back, but a lot of it depends on MU. $10 minutes left. MU keeps breaking highs, though. 923s right now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Man, I'm going to take this off right here. I'm out. I don't know what this candle was. It looks news driven to me, but oil didn't really move some, but I'll take it. I don't know what the hell that was. But hey, lucky is better than skill. But look at this candle here. NVIDIA's dipping down. Google's dipping down. AMD's dipping down. Oil's slightly up over the last minute or two, but not really enough to mean geopolitics news. All right, so we now dipped under 30K. Maybe I'll buy. I don't know. One thing I'm worried about is some type of insider trading here. I mean, we're very green on the day now, which is nice, but maybe I should have bought. Just look at that bounce here, right at 30K. Tiny green. We're back to 30K again. I'm tempted to buy now, but if we have a cushion to justify it. But I don't know if I trust it. All right, we'll buy it right here. We got a large enough cushion to justify it, I guess, but... Oh. Now we're under 30K. I don't want the bears to get too excited here. There's a pop back higher. Thing is, I think most chip stocks look like they're at a bounce level here. The problem is MU starting to dip, but Nvidia's starting to bounce a little bit as well. AMD's still falling though. I'm gonna take half of this off. It's just really whippy. Then maybe add some on the way down so I can take higher risk. But let's give it a second. How much time do we have? We have 7 minutes. All right, so we just added some to this. See if we get a bounce back up over 30. There we go. There we go. Like half. Take a little bit more. Yep. I'm gonna get out right there. Such a nice bounce here, right back over 30K. We're really nicely green on the day now. MU's still been one of the leaders though. MU's up to 920 almost. AMD bouncing a little bit at the VWAP. So is Nvidia. Not really any news. ISM services is the next big print, I think, here. Chip spike is a trap. The downtrend can't get anymore. Yeah, I mean, we had fast bounce, but I'm getting out there. We might continue down. We're kind of consolidating here. Market could be waiting for services data, so we'll see. About 5 minutes. Very back and forth price action today, though. A lot of stuff's green. Oil's still falling down. It's at 75.30 a barrel for WTI crude. AMD's bouncing back. Nvidia looks okay, and MU is still close to the highs of the day here. The S&P 500, though, is over 7,800. Broke all-time highs again at the bell here. I don't know about the actual S&P. Yeah, S&P at the opening bell broke all-time high. Was it all-time highs? Yes. $30K still being a support level here. Yeah, I mean, SK Hynix is running up with the rest of memory today. MU. Again, though, we have SanDisk earnings after the bell today, and it's at 1400s right now. So we'll see what happens with SanDisk, but starting to fall some now. 4 minutes until ISM services. Yeah, we're breaking all-time highs in some indices and stuff like that today, so we're not too slow, but market open data hasn't been as run heavy as like we've seen in the last few days for sure. All right, guys, 3 minutes until ISM services. We'll see if it moves anything. We're nicely green on the day, though. I mean, we built up a pretty large cushion, but I don't know what to do here. I want to see if chips start to bounce. I might buy this again. I got to get out within the next 3 minutes, but we'll see if we get another continuation bounce here. There we go. All right, guys, 2.5 minutes now. All right. Another bounce. There we go. Less than 2 minutes. Let me get out there. Yeah, we're up about 500 on the day now, which is nice. ISM Services releases in about 1.5 minutes. Lost Pork 1000. I need emotional support. Hey, I'm sorry, friend. Nasdaq still flying higher here. Nvidia still bouncing here. We got 1 minute left. I don't know what I'm down on the week. Let me look. I made a little bit yesterday. Nasdaq getting close to highs. No, this week my gross P&L so far is $225, so it's pretty much flat. But we're not down anymore, which is good. I'm tempted to buy, though. We got 40 seconds left before ISM Services data. $30 seconds. Nasdaq now pulling back here. We got 15 seconds. Yeah, I don't know if it's bullish or bearish. We'll see. All right, here we go. It's expected at 55 or 54.5. It drops in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. ISM Services data showed up at 54, weaker than expected services at 54.1 versus 54.5 expected. Prices were also higher than last time at 70.3. And so markets could see this as fearful regarding inflation, and the Nasdaq does not like it so far. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move, but again, ISM Services 54.1, prices higher than last time as well. So again, ISM Services 54.1 versus 54.5 expected. Prices were higher than last time. That's probably the scarier print here. And look at the market's dump. There's the numbers in chat right now. We'll put the prices numbers up because I think the prices is probably what's scaring people. ISM prices, services prices, higher than expected here. And so I'll put this data up on screen. Look at the prices right here. So the prices is probably what's freaked the market out. But we did dip under 30,000 for a split second just now. We're at 30K here. Now we're under 30,000 in the Nasdaq. Yeah, ADP was bearish. I mean, or it's not even necessarily bearish, though. The problem is that the market might want weaker jobs, opens the door for more rate cuts. Look at the NQ fall. NQ starting to turn on the ISM Services data here. Yeah, so look at the market did not like it here. Look at the turnaround here on the Nasdaq under 30K. Now I'm tempted to buy this up. The prices number is probably what's freaking people out again. Prices came in at 70.3. The previous was 67.7. I am tempted to buy this up, but the Nasdaq does not like this so far. And I guess we got to try to buy the 200 EMA again. We've got such a large cushion on the day. Maybe today's the day to take risks. But this is some steep falling. There's the volume weighted average price. We bounced at the VWAP a little bit here, but we're still pushing down now. But did I accidentally add more to this? I meant to sell some. Come on, retrace back up there. There we go. I'm going to cut some of this. There we go. We're going to immediately sell on the upside here. I don't like it at all. We got 4 contracts left. Much smaller position size here. But green nonetheless from the trade on that retracement bounce here. There's a little bit more. I get out a little bit more right there. See if we bounce some more here. There's gold. Gold's getting close to highs of the day right now. There we go. A little bit more off here, and then hold the rest flat if it breaks under this. It might bounce at the VWAP here, but we made money on that trade as well. Yeah, VWAP's still holding it pretty firm here on the NASDAQ. Look at the VWAP right here. Doesn't mean it's going to stay here, but here's the VWAP. Here's the 200 EMA. Yeah, we got a cushion on the day, so we can take a little bit more risk. Gold's getting close to highs. Memory pulling back some. Oil just dumped here, though, but it tapped the previous closing price. I might buy back in some right here. I don't know where it's at. Gotta call it. Huh? What? All right, guys, so we are down in this trade now. Give it 1 second to bounce at the VWAP again here. There we go. There we go. VWAP bounce. See if it holds now. We got a little piece of this left. All right, so we're still in here. It's going up some. All right, so we did get out of the trade here. I was worried the short-term moving average will reject it, but again, a nice little VWAP bounce here, and the market's starting to push. Oil is actually technically red on the day right now. So oil is technically red again on the day. Gold has broken highs again here. Look at gold. The gold's shooting up right now. Oil's down to 75 a barrel. Nvidia's up to 221s as well. So, look at Nvidia here. Nice day today, though. I mean, we started off a little red, but we bounced back a lot. Again, look at gold here, though, man. Gold's still pushing. Oil's still falling. Let me check news. U.S. removes Iran-related sanctions according to the Treasury website. Look at gold here, guys. Look at oil. No hike? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. The prices were the scary number in the ISM print. NASDAQ coming back. Oil testing lows again. Gold at 42.80s right now. Look at gold. Rip it up. NASDAQ back over 30. Nvidia still pushing towards 221s. Markets can't keep going up like this. It's going to dump so hard. Anyone paying 100K for a Truth API? I'm not. Again, we're going to get the data immediately anyway if you know where to look for it. So I'm not paying 100K just so I can get the data and then everybody else can piggyback off of it. Like, again, if I needed a write-off maybe, but... Alright, NASDAQ back to 30K here. Tempted to buy this again on a pullback to 30, but it's a risky endeavor here. Like, we're going to buy this real quick right here. Maybe sit in this a little bit longer. Nvidia looks like it's going to break highs. That might push the NASDAQ higher. That's the logic of this trade. 30K seems to be a support level too. There we go. All right. We're going to cut that immediately into the strength and then hold a piece of this now. All right, we're still heading up. I'll hold the rest of this break even and try to sit on it. Oh wait, I'm red on the rest. Oh, let me get out of here. I'm gonna get out break even. All right, we're up over 600 on the day, which is nice. I still think we might bounce here though. Again, if you haven't already, like I said, if you want to help support the channel, check out Apex. Apex, if you want to learn to day trade, most day traders lose money. Doesn't matter what course you take, who your mentor is. Most day traders are just about to lose. And so why fund your own account thousands of dollars? Makes no sense. That's why prop firms are useful. And if you're really new, Apex is the cheapest accounts in the game. And so I'll put the link up if you want to help support the channel. You can get an Apex account if you buy a 5-pack bundle for $15 each. For $75, you get 5. You can also get a 100K eval for $59 right now. If you use my code BGT, check it out. There's the link. Great way to help support the channel. NASDAQ dipped back under 30, so we got out in time of that last trade. But again, I did see news that the U.S. removed Iran-related sanctions from the U.S. Treasury's website. Again, services expanded still. Rose to 54.1. Business activity reached a 5-month high. Prices paid did jump, which is probably from oil, but still. Oil just jumped up a little bit as well. It's both Lucid and Apex. All right, look, we're back under 30K on the NASDAQ here. The question is, when does the NVIDIA run stop? Gold is still making moves here. Look at gold right here. Look at gold right here, chat. Wow. Gold and Bitcoin can move together. It doesn't always move together. But Bitcoin's moving up and gold's moving up. They're both yield-sensitive assets, so higher yields is bad, lower yields is good. All right, we're at 42.90s on gold. Does anybody want to? I mean, dare I say short gold right here? It's up so much here, so steep of a climb. I mean, I'm up over 600 on the day. If I'm going to take a small trade with good risk reward, maybe it's on gold. All right. We'll dabble in it. I might cut it break even if it bounces back higher, but I hope it keeps dropping down. Do not short. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, guys. Might have to cut it break even here too now. I got out of some of it break even. Yeah, we're gonna get out flat. I don't want to get stuck in a steamroller on the upside. I mean, we're really green on the day. I don't know what I want to do now. Again, join our Discord right there. You can see our free trading Discord in the chat. So if you haven't already joined the Discord, we do a morning market brief every single morning, detailing what's going on in markets ahead of the stream. And so if you haven't seen it yet, again, we do a daily morning market brief every single morning ahead of the stream. And so if you look at it here, again, we talk about what's going on in markets. We break everything down here so you can understand it. Ahead of the stream, before the stream even starts, we post this. So if you want to join our Discord, I'll put the link up. We got a lot of good, knowledgeable members in there. So check it out. Here's the link in the chat right there. All right. What do we do here? Still kind of slow, choppy price action. Gulf crude and condensate exports hold steady at 10.7 million BPD, still 40% below pre-war levels. I'm tempted to short under 30K in the NASDAQ, but we're under 30 again. It just depends on whether you think chips are going to keep bouncing here. See what oil does here. Nasdaq's so sideways at this point in time. You trade choppy news like a pro, don't give it back. I'm trying not to, brother. I'm trying not to. I did get in one more trade. I'm going to show you guys it, but the short. There we go. We're green, but it's small and we'll get out if we need to. We're not doing anything in markets right now. It's kind of crappy price action here. Yeah, we're going to have to cut it right here. It's all right. I mean, we're still up 400 or so on the day, I think. Yeah, 500 actually. So we're still very green. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut out of here, guys. And so again, if you want to help support the channel, one of the ways is you could use my code BGT at checkout. You'll get the max discount you can. I could have stayed in that short, by the way. But again, we're so flat over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes here. But again, use my code BGT. You want to help support the channel. I'll put the Lucid link up. I'll put the Apex link up. You can help support the channel. Apex has the cheapest accounts in the game. If you want cheap accounts, especially if you're learning, they're the right move. If you want Lucid, Lucid Flex is the move. You can also go direct to fund it on Lucid. You can also go direct to fund it on Tradeify. Tradeify has a really nice direct to funded program. So they're all kind of good at different things. Take Profit has great payout rules. I could have held that short, by the way. But if you want to check out Lucid, there's the link. We appreciate it. If you want to check out Apex, I'll put the link. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. You can also find it in the description. But I'm going to go ahead and cut out of here, guys. Y'all be safe today. Market's a little flat. I could have held that short. That short was right, by the way. Look at this drop. Let me make sure this is not news-driven, though. I don't think it's news-driven. I think this is just markets turning down after running up so much today. I should have stayed in the short, by the way, guys. I should have done it. Gold just broke highs again, right up to 5,300s, but yeah, I think it's probably my time to cut out. So, y'all be safe today, guys. Loved everybody here. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.